Hey folks, Duncan here from Digitally Reincarnated Technologies, and tonight we're doing our second tutorial for the new tool I'm releasing. This is going to be UMT, the Universal Modular Tool, used for cutting up models that you have that are all one part, making them modular. In the first video, we used the rig movement tool that I made on the modular fantasy character, moving the samurai pack over from Cinti Studios. And now I'm going to show you how we're going to cut things up here. So I'm going to turn the ninja on. I added a texture to it here just so we can see easier. We're going to go in and make a new skin object again. Just quick, so it's just toying with it. Okay, so we're going to add another empty. I'm going to call this modular parts. It will get renamed after by the script. Um, and we need another one here, which we are going to call Ninja Triangle Data. This is one that you may want to save and export if you potentially want to cut things up again. On this one, we're going to add a script called Triangle Data. All right. So, pro tip here, as it says, lock the inspector. We got a button that does it. You can also hit that up there. And we're going to open Mesh Tool or the Mesh Cutter. You do need to have Mesh Cutter to use this script. If you don't have it installed, you're going to get a bunch of errors. So if you go into the UMT folder, here's the install for what we're working on now. I kept it separate because if you don't have Mesh Cutter, but you still want to use the modular or the rig movement tool, you can. Okay, so with Mesh Cutter open, we're going to click on the model here that we are going to be cutting till it highlights orange. Hit lock. It's going to ask you where you want to save the mesh because it's going to make a copy. Doesn't matter, you're not going to use it. Once it's locked, this can just get slid out of the way. Doesn't matter, we're not using that. The triangle data will tap into this asset's details. So we have a few options here. You can left click to select triangles, hold shift and left click to remove. You can click and drag to get everything. You can hold control and drag to select everything. And when you use control, it's going to get all the way around, whereas single clicks do not. You can hold control and shift and drag to remove. Okay? So what you'd want to do here is essentially highlight what you want for each of the body parts and then click the button. It's nice and easy. So if we go down here, you can see, for example, the boots are currently set to 0. Right boot is here. So if I hold control and drag up, got that. I hit right boot, and you can see that it grabs all the triangles there. Gonna reset this back to 0, and then you'd want to hit clear selected after you've cut one so that you don't accidentally add that boot to, say, like the torso. Once you've cut up the parts that you want, which I will do here in the tutorial in a sec, but we would go into model again here, lock inspector, going to add UMT, Universal Modular Tool. Origin would be the model we're cutting up. New skins object is where we're putting the parts. Triangle data. Hit create folders so it knows where to save them to, and then you'd hit cut. So go back into triangle data here, relock it, and we're gonna make some triangles here. Now, there are certain body parts that have special rules. So accessories are just individual cuts. You'd use this if you were grabbing, say, like some earrings or a pendant on a character or something like that. Special rules on the other parts to check. So, for example, if you cut the head and the torso, it's going to check for what parts here are shared for the vertices. and it's going to fill them in. If you cut the head but not the torso, it's not going to find those things. You're going to end up with a hole in the neck, um, which, if everything lines up nicely with your models, probably won't matter. But it's nice to fill them in just to not chance weird lights getting into them and stuff like that. So I'm going to sort of do a quick and dirty run here just to show you that. So we're going to grab the right boot. I'm going to intentionally go higher than the boot so we get some of the leg there. And the reason I'm doing that with the control click is to make sure that I get any little individual triangles that are within the leg but still part of the boot. I'm going to hold shift. I'm going to go and clean this up. I'm going to remove the obvious leg parts without clicking down near the boots, because anything that is that close to the boots I want to keep there as a just in case. Alright, so that looks good. I'm going to hit right boot, and then I'm going to hit clear. Do the same thing with the left boot. Roll over, hold shift and start removing these. Alright, left boot, clear. Now we're going to do the torso. Now the torso, we're going to do the same general idea here. Now the thing is, the boots are obvious and easy. Torso can sometimes be cut a little different. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to turn on the male here. And I'm going to go turn off all except the hips. I'm going to open the hips and turn off all except naked one. And the reason for that is I can now go like this, and I can see where the cuts are. So it actually looks like none of the belt or just the base of the belt. The rest of the belt would be part of the torso. So I'm going to do it from the side here. I'm going to hold control. Click on the. There we go. So it's showing there. Straight across there again. I'm going to shift control. I'm going to clean that up there. Just holding shift and left clicking. Shift just to tag that one line there. Alright, so I'm going to click on legs here just so that I can make sure I can see it. Go back to Ninja. Looks like I got the torso pretty good there. We get nice and close. Part of the belt here. Now, when you're first starting to use this, honestly, I'd say toy with it. Not every part is going to line up properly. Fortunately, that's just with the way these models weren't designed to be cut up. So some parts are going to work nicely, some are not. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. All right, we're going to go and clean up the boots here now. Now, when you're control clicking, the angle that you're using it at makes a big difference. If you cut up like this as opposed to down like this, you might end up getting parts that do or do not want. Just sort of fair warning there. Want the legs. So these parts of the boots would be on the boots themselves. We don't want them on the hips here. You can see a lot of the little triangles which were going inside there as I'm removing them. Those would be the type of ones we we're making sure to get when we did the boots, which is why we overcut it and removed. Again, I'm just holding shift and dragging to remove those. One, Good example of it. Another super tiny one there. There we go. Another one there. And the reason why we're getting picky with this is because when it goes to fill the holes, we don't want random chunks there that are going to leave stuff there. Let's see. We can look inside. So yeah, you can see there that it did grab the insides there. Which is fine. The boots may have had them as well. All right, and we're going to hit torso or hips. Why am I so blind? There we go. Excellent. We can hit unlock. Don't need that in memory now. And we can turn that off. All right, UMT. We're going to unlock the inspector. We've got this all set up. Let's take a look and see how it goes. Cut modular parts. And we are going to turn off the ninja. There we go. So you can see here's the hole. We didn't cut the torso, so there's a big hole. Turn off the pants. There's the boots, and they are filled in quite nicely. So if we go back into male parts here, for example, and we turn on the hips again, there you go. You can see that they're joined up properly. The knees look a little bit off. Again, not made to be cut up like this. Be much easier if you chose to edit them in Blender now, already having the parts cut up. You could also, in theory, write a script like it looks like this boot. Center of the boot is here, center of the knee is there. In theory, you could rotate slightly each vert them over if you want. But let's take a look and see how they look when they move here. So we've already got the controller on there. We're going to hit play. See how these look in the scene mode with it. Here's my toaster keeps going here. There we go. Scene view. So yeah, the alignment is a little bit off, but in all honesty, if you were running around in a game, players aren't really going to notice that. But if you do want to get picky, you might want to throw it into Blender or Maya, just rearrange a bit. However, now you don't have to really go and recut them in Blender. It's going to be, honestly, probably much faster doing it this way. And then you're all good to go. If we turn this off, you can go down here and find the hips. Turn them on so you can see that they're lined up there. If we go through and turn off the boots we just did, you can go in here, left and right. They actually look pretty lined up that way with the big boots, so sticks out a little bit there. But yeah, so that's the general rundown of it. You just want to make sure that you have the shared verts on all the parts. Cut them all at once. Again, if you were just toying with that, you can always go back into the triangle data, keep cutting, and then, like with me, I like to test each part as I go, and then I go through here, hit delete, and then go through, for example, and then cut the torso next on the ninja, and then rerun the cut from here. Make sure I didn't miss any parts. If I did, redo it, add to it, etc. You can go through and add parts in, no problem. So say I cut all of them, but I missed like this one triangle right here. I can reload it and hit cut just that one triangle, hit torso. It's going to add it to the list. In which case, then it should work fine. You just can't really remove from it. You can't reload the list into Mesh Cutter. Grabbing the data is one way. We're using reflection to grab it. So you can add any missing triangles, yeah, but if you end up overcutting, like say you're cutting the torso and you actually end up cutting like this chunk of the arm, the only way to really properly fix that would be to clear the torso list and recut it. The other thing that can be a pain sometimes is doing the head on something like this. um, just seeing where the neck lines up, but it does look really nice. You can get that helmet, and it does line up really nicely with the modular fantasy stuff. So that's the basic rundown of UMT. If you have any questions, please feel free to jump onto my Discord. Feel free to ping me on there, and we'll see what we can do. Thanks, guys.